Okay, YouTubers, space detectives, paranormal police, amateur space sleuths, and quasi-scientific people that deny everything to do with life on Mars, you're all welcome. Today we're looking at this image from Sol 530. Now, I've got the raw image here. Links will be below for all this stuff as usual, so you can download it. You can check out the gigapans that I've got up here, everything. So this is all verified and checkable stuff. Okay, here's the Sol number there, 2014 this was taken. So this is going right back to the early days of the Curiosity Rover, not that long after it landed on Mars, only about a year or so, a year and a half or so after it landed. And this is just after the Dingo Gap, this particular spot. It's very dark, the sun is at a funny angle, so almost all these rocks are in heavy shadow, which is never great. So you've really got to brighten the hell out of the image to actually see anything. And the particular area we're looking at is this bit here, and there's a few things lying down in front as well, which I'm just going to touch on. Now, I've also got up here a couple of gigapans. There's one here by Neville Thompson. I'm not going to show that because if I click on all these things, my graphics card will freak out. I've already got a lot of stuff up here. There's another one here by Todd, which I'm not going to go full screen on. And you can see the area. If I zoom out, you can see the whole area there. You've got Mount Sharp over here to the left. And this is the Dingo Gap, this rather odd, fake-looking, curved bit of sand dune here, which looks like it's been pasted on. You can almost see the join there. Yeah, whatever. I mean, a lot of people have said it's fake. I think some of it may be, yeah, especially this bit here. It seems to be covering up some interesting things here. And the rover drove round here, and then came up to here, and then sort of drove over this sand dune. And there was a nice statue there. There's a couple of statues here. I've done lots of videos of this area around the Sol 500 marks, between sort of 530 and about 590. Now the rover drove over there, past this thing here at the back. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see in the background, just here, if my mouse will even work, there's some ruins here. Now this is a ruined building, okay? And there's a wall here that goes right along, or foundations that stick out as well. And there's a whole row of statues along here in this area, which I've showed in lots of recent videos before about statues. I've got a couple of them up here. One's called, a really old one I did was called Mars Carved Conehead Statues, latest from ArtAlienTV. This was done not long after that image was released, back in 2014. And it shows this statue, which is right on that ridge, okay? It's right here. As the rover drove over it, it's right down here, okay? This is it, the ridge. And the statue is just there, or at least that's what people think it is. I'm not sure this one is, but if it is, it's quite heavily damaged, but luckily, it seems anyway, it seems that at least half the face is intact here. And this may be the other half of the statue here, which would have joined the right side of it, okay? I'll play a tiny bit of that now. This is just going to be a real quick animation here. Bam. Okay. Now, this is a video I did years ago. Lots of people have covered this. But what's really interesting is the bit of stonework next to it as well. There's a bit of architecture there. Okay, there's a beveled edge there. That is not just a normal rock. So even if you don't believe this is a statue and you say that this is pareidolia, the thing right next to it, let's go back a bit, is beveled. Okay, that's a manufactured piece of architecture. No doubt about that at all. Okay, Mother Nature does not bevel things in such a way. So that's a bit of stonework. That's from a building. So there's loads and loads of stone fragments of the wrecked and ruined buildings in this area. So you can check that out. That I will link to at the end of this video, as I will also link to this. This is that area I was talking about. This is a video called Row of Statues on Mars, Parts 1, 2 and 3, Pantheon of Gods. This is a recent video, only about a month ago, maybe, April, yeah, okay. And this is where all the statues are. There's one up here, there's one there, there's one here. There's rows of really crazy looking statues, okay? And this is the area I coined the temple, the ruined temple. I think I coined it that back in 2013 or 14. So many years ago now. And I said that this was a ruined building with statues. I found one or two initially back then. And since then I've come back to it again and again, and I keep finding more here. Now that my visual knowledge has grown on what Martian architecture and statuary looks like, I'm able to identify more now than I was then, because I've found so many. I know how diverse and weird some of them do look. There's also this video. I did this recently. This is a row of statues. This one's called Gold Beetle Found on Mars, Multi-Statues and Evidence for Life, Part 2. Okay, that was a couple of months ago, that one. Doing pretty well. And this is a very similar to what we're looking at today. This was in heavy shadow. We have a ridge line with what looked initially just like a load of rocks kind of piled up against it. But actually, when you look a bit more closely and brighten the hell out of the image, you realise there's a whole row of statues. There's about 4 here. There are others in the area near it as well, which I show in this video. And there's a comparison. Some of them are very crude, some of them are very eroded, some are very damaged. Okay? That's what you have to bear in mind. And when they're in shadow like this, you've really got to brighten the image up a lot. And you're not going to see a great deal of fine detail because it's too dark. And it's very, very difficult to see the detail. You have to be really careful with the image and brighten them slowly and play with the contrast very carefully to get these sort of results. It's really quite hard. There is also this video called Animal Sculpture on Mars, which goes into detail. That's also a recent video. That's about January, so that's a few months back now. This goes into some detail about the Martian soil and how it's easily squashed into a kind of concrete. So it'd be very easy to make statues and carvings and sculptures with, okay? So there's some fine detail here in this video about that, about how easy it would be to actually shape this stuff. And I actually show here an animal sculpture as well. Here it is, which looks like it's been moulded out of this stuff and then carved away. This is some kind of weird rabbit or whatever type creature, I don't know. It's got a big ear there, it's very crude. Some of these things are very crude and almost look cartoonish, okay, as this does. You've got the big eye, you've got a big ear, you've got a funny smile and the nostrils there, head coming round, body, no feet or anything. I mean, there may be feet and legs underneath the soil here, the sand, okay. So, right, let's crack on with it because I'm rambling now. Watch this video because it explains exactly how you could easily make sculpture from Martian soil without even water or a kiln or anything. You just squash it together and it sticks like glue. Okay. For more details, watch that video if you want to see more detail on that. Okay, right, let's crack on with it. Now, so I've already covered most of this before, so I'm not going to show you all of this stuff. There's statues here, there's statues at the back here, there's statues going right round here, okay? And even, I've done a whole bunch of videos where I've followed the rover as it went all the way along here past this mound. There's some more statues up by this mound, and it carries on further right along this straight line here, and there's a bunch more mounds further over, and there's more and more statues all the way along here. In fact, there's about 100 so far that I've found. Other people have found some as well. Lots of other researchers have found 1 or 2 as well. So it's not just me, but the vast majority are on my channel. Okay, so there we are. Let's crack on with it. Now, I've done a bunch of images here. Before I show you the finished piece, I'll show you the actual clip I've taken. Here's a clip from the raw image, which I showed you right at the start. Very muddy, very dark. But even in the dark image, you can see, this is what I saw first, was this, here. There's a head there, okay? A carved or sculpted head with a mouth and a nose. and some eyes there like that. Okay, now it's very crude and cartoonish looking, but you can see it. Once you know it's there, you can just about make it out, but you've really got to brighten up the image. If you're going to have any chance of seeing anything, you need to brighten the hell out of it. Now this basically is a fine example, like that other row of statues I showed you, of an image that's too dark and too shadowy. But if you really brighten it like I've done here, you can see another one here. There's a statue here. Now there's this, let me get in a bit closer. Here's the head, right? It's a funny shape, comes around like that. Here's the body. Okay, and it's sitting just here, okay? Now you can't see it very well, but you can see an arm coming down here and a hand just here, okay? And there's a little bit of brow detail and a nose there, okay? But the chin is broken off. Now the chin would have come to there probably, but it's broken off, okay? A lot of these are heavily damaged and eroded and pitted, and bits are broken off and sheared straight off and probably fallen down in front of them here further down the ridge, okay? Now you can't see a lot here, so we got a head here. There's one there, and I didn't realise it to start with, but there's also one right next to it here, okay? Now it's pretty hard to make out, but I'm going to demonstrate that. There's the nose. There's a nose there. There's an eye there. Another eye here. Okay. There's the mouth. There. And sort of big fat cheekbone there coming round. This one is sitting. This is just a head, but there may have been more of it below here. And there may even be some more little smaller ones kind of carved into this stuff around this as well, okay? So this is really crude and you can't really see it. And the reason you can't see it is because the image is so poor. And I actually do think the image was deliberately downgraded, even more so to make it even harder to see, okay? So what I'm going to show you now, I'm just going to show you the folder and show you the images in sequence, or at least partially. Let's go, actually what I'll do, I'll show you the finished item. Because, actually let's get the full size one. Hang on a minute. I've got different versions of this. There we are, is the full size one. There we are. That's what it looks like once I've selected round each thing, changed the colour temperature, and brighten the bejesus out of it. And this is going to be on the cover, obviously. Now, what I did is I turned the image grayscale to get rid of the mucky colour because it's so terrible, the colour. Basically, if you grayscale it, this is the image I grayscaled here. Image, right, let's go to grayscale. Now that actually considerably cleans up the image, and then if you brighten it more, let's go brighter and brighter. This background almost goes completely white, but then you can actually see the shapes. You can see the nose here, you can see the mouth here, you can just about make out some eye shadows there, the chin here. This one starts to become clearer, you can just about see the mouth. The nose is really bright because the sun's caught it there, okay? So you can see it, it's there. And let me try brightening up a bit more actually. Yeah, there we go. If you really brighten it, you can see the shapes now. You can actually see that head there. And you can see this one. This one was interesting because you've got an arm coming down and a hand. I think there may have been legs down here, but they're sort of covered up or broken off. But you've got another arm you can just about make out. It's very poor, but you can make out. This is a breast here. This is the belly and torso here. The arm comes right down to there. You've got finger detail there a little bit. And it's resting like that. And then the head, there's something kind of leaning against the back of the head. Just there. This is the head, which is broken off here, and the neck comes to there. And there's the nose, and there's the eyebrows there, okay? So the other arm comes down like this, next to it, and it's on a kind of sitting part here, like there was sitting kind of statue, It's all sheared off and broken. It's really difficult to see. So I'll show you the finished item, because basically it's so dark and muddy, this image. You've really just got to look at the finished clip. Let's have a look at that again. There we are. Let's go smaller, because if you get too close, it doesn't look great, because there's no real detail here, because it was taken in shadow. So there we are. Now, there may also be a head there or a carved face there, don't know. And there may be some in some of these smaller rocks here, but that may just be pareidolia kicking in there. There are certain things I look for when I'm looking for a three-dimensional sculpture or carving, and that is symmetry, facial symmetry, and sort of more than just a profile. In other words, if you see a face side on, it may just be a rock, okay? It's very easy to pick out a shape like we got here, where you've got a points to go. You can say, oh, that's a nose and this is a chin. But I like to see more than that. I like to see facial symmetry. In other words, I like to see more than just the side of the face. I like to see it from the front, or at least mostly from the front, like these are. Because then you can actually see more of the sculpture and determine whether there's symmetry from one side to the other, from left to right. So you need to have left to right symmetry to determine whether something is actually a sculpture and a three-dimensional head, and not just a couple of dots and a mouth and another dot for the nose that could be just drawn in the sand with a finger, okay? There's a big difference between a three-dimensional head and a face. A face can just be a flat image. A sculpture or a statue is a three-dimensional object with symmetry from left to right, okay? Like we have here, we've got a left arm coming down and a right arm coming down. We have a torso here, we have a breast there. Unfortunately, the actual chin, the statue here is broken off at the mouth. You've got the eyes there, you've got an ear here, you've got a nose coming down, and you've got just a mouth there, but the chin is just broken straight off. So there's no chin or lower jaw at all, okay? So I would imagine that would have come down like this. Okay, so that's pretty cool. But it's weird because you've got these things behind it which have kind of collapsed onto it as well. So we've got rocks here which are piled up against it or are kind of obscuring some of it partially here, okay? And there's another sort of rock behind it there. This one's really weird, like sort of Mr. Potato Head looking dude. Very crude, some of this, but of course this may be very heavily eroded, and these may have had much more fine detail on them at one point and looked really quite cool. But now what we have is, we have a very poor quality image in shadow, which is too dark, which has been downgraded and obfuscated by the looks of it by NASA, by JPL. And then B, we have difficult lighting conditions, and also we have heavy erosion, and parts of these are broken off and eroded, but there's enough there to see, and there's no doubt in my mind that there are statues in this area. I've found so many now. I must have found probably just in this area, within about a kilometre of this spot here, probably about 60 now. I've actually lost count. It may be about 80. I don't know, I can't remember. Because I used to find one statue and then do one video. Now what I do is I find 3 or 4 together and do a video. So I've got about 80 odd videos on these now, and many of them contain multiple statues, like 4 or 5 even. So God knows, it's probably over 100. It's probably over 100 statues now that I've found. And that's not even including all the sort of mummified heads and stuff that I found as well. I mean, Jesus, there are hundreds of these all over the place. You just got to tune in to these low-res images and look really carefully and brighten the hell out of them. Or go to the gigapan like we have here. The gigapans are pretty good, and they are brighter. But when you zoom into this part here, it's so dark and muddy compared to the rest of it, you really don't see anything. You see the basic sort of outline shapes and not much else. Okay, so there are multiple statues here. I'm going to put some clips in a minute. Okay. There was this thing here. Now, this is weird. This to me looks like part of a carving. All right. That thing there. See that? That is really strange. I'll show you that now in the folder. That was like, I spotted that right near the end of when I was doing this. I've got a raw clip here. This is straight from the Gigapan that I did. I did my own Gigapan, a little miniature one. And this, I don't know what it is, but it's very, very odd. And these look like wings, like a bird or something. And I think this may have had a bird's head that's kind of snapped off here. This detail here is very, very strange, just here. Let me show you the enhanced clip of that. Really weird. I've brightened the hell out of it there. Look at this detail here. Very, very strange indeed. To me, this looks like a wing coming here, a carved depiction of a wing or something. And I think there would have been a bird's head just here with a beak sticking out, perhaps, pointing to the right. Who knows? Really, really strange. But if you look closely, there's almost like there's a face here or something, with a mouth here and the two eyes. But I'm not sure about that. I can't quite make it out. It may represent some kind of weird creature that we just don't understand. I don't know. Answers on a postcard with that one, people. Boys and girls, what do you think of that? Is it a bird? Is it something else? I could have got this completely up. This could even be upside down. It could be up the wrong way. I don't know, but it's very, very odd. And this detail here, particularly to me, is very strange. And when you go in close, let's go to the final enhancement. No, that's too dark. Doesn't actually help. It's got this kind of texture to it, like there's loads of little, like a beaded texture, very fine texture, and it's kind of like as if it's representing feathers or something. Very odd indeed. That was interesting. So clips will be coming up of all these in a minute, as usual. And as I said before in previous videos, if you prefer my shorter videos, of course, you can always just watch the first couple of minutes of each video and then flick right to the end of the video to see all the image clips that I've got and close-ups that I've got. Okay, you can always do that. And failing that, if you wish, if you prefer much shorter videos, you can come to my new channel, and it's called Space Detective 1. Here it is. I only started this channel a week ago. I'm up to 167 subscribers now. It's not bad going for a week. I've got about 50 videos on here, roughly. But most of these are from, there will be some newer videos on here, but most of these are much shorter videos. Okay, these videos, apart from the odd one, like this one and this one here, most of them are about a minute or 2 minutes long. Some are 3 minutes long. About 90% of these videos will be under 5 minutes, okay? So if you want a bite-sized channel with bite-sized bites of anomaly goodness, this is where you need to come. Basically, the vast majority of these videos are under 5 minutes, and a lot of them are like 2 minutes, okay? There's loads of really short ones here, loads of them, nearly all of them. There are a few around the 10-minute mark and longer, but the vast majority are short. So this is where you want to come if you want to see that one's not even a minute long. The frog, that's really cool. That frog's actually got a tail like a young adolescent frog would have on Earth. Really cool. Encrusted, just sitting on the sand like that. Unbelievable. Loads of crazy stuff here. Some of these you have recognised from years ago. Some of these you may not. A lot of these haven't really been watched because I uploaded them so long ago that people have sort of forgotten about them. So I've started this new channel because my old channel, ArtAlienTV, is struggling a bit. It's still doing okay, but I think it's being censored quite heavily. And the weird thing is, this brand new channel that I only started a week ago is now actually outperforming in views my ArtAlienTV channel. How could that possibly be the case when it has less than 50 videos and is only a week old and only 167 subscribers? My main channel has 100, well, hang on, sorry, 33,000 subscribers, okay, and has about 760 videos, okay, yet they're both doing about the same number of views per day. Unbelievable. That proves beyond any reasonable doubt, if you ask me, that my main channel is being suppressed massively. I would say to the tune of about 80% or 90%. And I've been thinking that for about a year or two now. In fact, it started going rapidly downhill not long after I was on Ancient Aliens. And I think I was targeted, as soon as I was on that show, my channel was targeted. And ever since then, it's been struggling. It still does all right, and I still get the odd viral video, but it's my general, for the number of people I got subscribed, I don't get that many views in a day. At the moment, I'm doing only 2,000 or 3,000 a day, which only makes a few dollars. So it's a struggle. So this is why I've started a new channel. So do come along to this channel. I'm trying to get this monetized, and you've got to get 1,000 subscribers before you can do that. So do come along, subscribe. There's lots of bite-sized goodness on this one. Loads of short videos you can watch in just a couple of minutes. And the trolls haven't discovered this site yet. So it's kind of troll-free at the moment. And it's below the radar, which is perhaps why it's doing okay. Whereas my main channel is well known, and it gets attacked constantly, not just by trolls, but also by the AI bots and stuff like that. And I actually do think that YouTube is now basically being run by robots and artificial intelligence, which is why millions of people are being deleted, and subscriber counts are down massively on last month. Everything's down massively on last month. So if you're a YouTuber, let me know in the comments what's happening to your channel, because I've been experiencing some crazy stuff recently. I had my channel hacked a couple of weeks back, it looks like it was hacked anyway. I'm not really sure exactly what happened there. Google weren't very helpful, really. My Google Wallet was hacked. And since then, my channel's been going down real rapidly. So some very odd behavior going on there. So, like I said, if you're a YouTuber with a channel, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what's going on. I'd like to know, because I want to confirm if it's the same experience I'm having, because I think this is not just me. I think there's a lot of us researchers. There has been a purge of so-called conspiracy videos on YouTube. I mean, this will probably be censored just for me mentioning the C word, like I just did. So there's a lot of weird crap going on, and a lot of it's automated. I don't think they're actually even thinking about it. I think that the robots are actually taking over, and they're just deleting and downgrading stuff they don't like, anything that mentions certain keywords, especially if you put it in the description or say it like I just did. I'll probably get into trouble for that, just for saying the word. You know, it's ridiculous the amount of censorship we're getting now. So there we are, and if you haven't seen it already, do check this out. This is Mars Magazine page. Please come along to Mars Magazine as well on Facebook. Almost up to 2,000 members now, so only another 15 needed to get to 2,000. So do come along and join up. It's totally free. You get to see all my stuff on here before it even goes on YouTube and gets censored. And in fact, I've just been blocked from, I've been put in Facebook jail for a week for posting this image of the mummified head on the asteroid Bennu. This is called Big Ben with 2 N's. This is incredible. Check it out. There's a link to the video here. You can go on my channel, the previous video, if you haven't seen this. It's a long video. If you don't want to watch the whole video, it's like for over 40 minutes. You can just watch the first few minutes and the last few minutes and see all the images. And then if you like it, you can always go back and watch the rest of it, okay? It's quite long, but it's highly controversial. This thing is absolutely enormous, but it's also incredibly clear. It's probably one of the clearest mummified heads found on any planetary body. It's in great detail. This is a fine quality image taken in black and white from the OSIRIS-REx mission that took this from a distance of 2.2 kilometers in a flyby quite recently. And this is a brand new find and a brand new image. I didn't find this. This was found by somebody else. There's details here. Max Kychak, I think his name is. and was shared on Facebook the other day. Absolutely stunning. So check that out. So come along to Mars Magazine, join up. Let's get it over 2,000. That would be great. Once this is over 2,000, I think it will really speed up. But there we are. Also check out my new channel and come along and subscribe to that if you can. Let's get this up to 1,000 subscribers, and then I'll have a backup channel just in case my main one goes down. They are deleting a lot of channels now. I've noticed other channels have had loads of stuff deleted and millions and millions of views taken away from them. So it's all going pretty pear-shaped. I don't think it's going to be a complete apocalypse. I'm hoping not anyway. I've weathered many an apocalypse on YouTube in the last couple of years. And this one will probably just blow over, hopefully. So check out these previous videos that I showed you. There will be links to these at the end anyway, and playlists as usual. Links will be below. Check out the Gigapan here. You want to look up here on this ridge there, on that one, or on this one. Okay, so thanks for watching everybody. Clips coming up now.